Hello and welcome to the Sports Box Network. I am Mike Velardi, a.k.a. Hamilton Mike, along with my partner, Brian, the Ranger of Tar. And this is the Sports Box Team Correspondent Mock Draft. Make sure before you check us out right now, you always know you can always get us on social media if you need to.
Especially if you're new to the show, we have a Facebook channel at Sportsbox Show. We have daily shows at this point, live on Facebook Live. We have our YouTube channel. We're on Twitter at Sportsbox Show. Make sure you're joining the ride because there's a lot of good stuff coming from the Sportsbox. But Mike, what a fun day here on the Sportsbox.
Oh, this is gonna be a trip.
This is gonna be good. So here's what you may or may not know. So Sportsbox has fans all around the country who are our team correspondents. And we set this up. We're going to do a mock draft all the way through the first round, and we're going to see who these guys want for their teams. You know, there might be some surprises here. There might be some things you might not expect that you might expect, but...
I definitely think there's going to be some shockers here.
You think there's going to be some shockers
here? But that's the fun part of the draft. It's all about, you know, getting stuff right, get stuff wrong, trades, different that. But we're going to run through our best guess estimate on these picks, along with our, like Brian said, our correspondents in our team areas that are going to help us out. So at pick 1, the Cleveland Browns. A lot of needs here, Brian. You can go a lot of different ways with this team. You can go, which has been noted, quarterback. You can go wide receiver help. You can go defense, mainly defense. Yeah, I think they're going to go. I think they're going to go with a quarterback here. I mean, I'm just, you know, all the drafts say that, but I feel they need a quarterback. This is a team who's starving for a quarterback. They need one.
When you win 0 games, Mike, you have a lot of holes, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, this is a situation where, you know, they're drafting at 1, they're drafting again at 4, and, you know, the Jets trading up with the Colts, I think, is putting some pressure on them here. So the pick is in from team correspondent Mike Henshaw. Let's go to the pick.
So with the #1 selection overall, the Cleveland Browns are going to take Sam Darnold, quarterback, USC. Hopefully they don't mess this up and they take my advice.
Sam Darnold. Listen, that's not much of a surprise, right?
No, I can't say I don't like the pick. The guy's a good player and all. I just think he's not the best quarterback in this year's draft. I mean, I could be wrong. Obviously, I'm not doing a draft full time, but I mean, hey. Let's see if this works out for the Browns. We haven't had a good track record of USC quarterbacks.
Remember the jersey, right? The guy with the jersey, all the quarterback names?
Yeah.
You can add another one right now.
Yeah,
actually, you can have 2, Tyrod Taylor and Sam Darnold.
Exactly, exactly.
You know, it's a USC quarterback going to Cleveland. That's not really a situation I think that's a good thing. But I can't hold it against them. You know, the Browns did need a quarterback. So, Sam Darnold is Michael Henshaw's pick there for the Browns.
Money, 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 money.
That's going to be a lot of money. Giants up next at 2. So, the Giants, they've been rumored to do a lot of different things. Now, with Darnold off the board, I'm curious if that changes, you know, kind of their take. I mean, I think maybe if Darnold was there at 2, they might go quarterback for sure, if they like him. But you hear Bradley Chubb's name thrown around. You hear Saquon Barkley's name thrown around. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I think this is a team that can go a lot of different ways. You can go quarterback help, you can go running back help, or you can go O-line help. Their O-line stinks. I mean, let's face it. Let's tell it like it is. They got Nate Sauter in the offseason from New England to upgrade this offensive line because it's not good. They wanted to prolong Eli's career. But in the same sense, how long do you have Eli for? You need a guy in the wings. You need the guy now. Do you need the guy down the road? Do you pick him in the second round? But in the same sense, you got a Saquon Barkley running back out there who is a premier running back for this team who hasn't had a running back in a long time. But I'll tell you with that, if they take a running back, this offensive line stinks.
Right. And that's the question is, you bring a guy into that situation, how effective really is he if the line is bad? So
if they go quarterback, Brian, I'm telling you, I love this kid. They should take Josh Allen from Wyoming. I think he's an absolute stud.
I think coming into it, you know, I don't think they need a quarterback right now. I think they were an 11-5 team 2 years ago. I could see them now. In this
bad thing.
In this mock, we didn't do any trading of picks other than what we already know in the actuality.
Yeah,
so
tough to do that.
Giants could trade out of this, but the pick is in for Tony Tanucelli, our Giants team correspondent, and here is the pick.
Good evening, guys. Tony Tanucelli, correspondent for the New York Football Giants. We are now on the clock, and unfortunately, the pick that I wanted, Sam Darnold, was taken by the Cleveland Browns. The New York Giants are going to need a quarterback in the next year or 2. They can have the luxury of picking the guy they think they can groom over the next 1 or 2 years. So my selection from Wyoming, quarterback Josh Allen. Allen is the perfect project for the Giants. He's got all the skills to play in the NFL. He needs to work on his footwork and his completion percentage. But those things are very correctable. He's a big, strong guy. with a big arm is something that the Giants will need going forward in November and December playing in the cold in New Jersey. He's a great character guy, and he's the perfect replacement for Eli Manning. We are going to pass on Barkley because we're going to be able to find a running back in the second or third round. The Giants have already started to bulk up their offensive line, and will find another lineman somewhere in the draft. Good luck, guys.
Good call, Mike.
There he is. There he is, my man, Josh Allen. This kid's going to be I'm telling you, this kid looks great. His pro day was phenomenal. He's got a big arm, can throw on the run, came from a whack offensive Wyoming that throws the ball a lot. I love this kid. I really do.
You know, it's...
If the Bucs didn't have James Winston, I'd be all over this kid.
I hear you. I just think that there were other... I mean, again... I think now they got to see what they're going to do with Eli and maybe even Odell, because if they're going to go in this direction, I think that you're really blowing this thing up, and I think you got to really look to get rid of some of your older players.
I really think you probably could have went with a guard or an offensive lineman there, because they really got to upgrade this line. I mean, this line's not that good. But
and again,
anyway.
it's a big spotlight in New York for the Giants. It's also one for the Jets. So the Jets picking at 3 here after a big trade with the Colts. They gave up a lot of value to get here. Well, it's got to be a quarterback,
that
right?
tells you it's got to be a quarterback. Yeah, and the Jets, you know, they missed on Hackenberg a while ago. They don't have anybody waiting in the wings, really. You know, Petty wasn't a good pick either. I mean, this team needs a quarterback in the worst way as well. You know, are they going to make the right move? Because they are kind of like Cleveland in the way they don't give a quarterback that much of a chance. They gave Geno Smith a chance, but he wasn't the right quarterback. So I think they're going quarterback. You know, you can say you got, you know, 2 solid quarterbacks on the board right now, Baker Mayfield and Josh Rosen. You know, I think they're going quarterback here.
I think they kind of put themselves into a hole where they have to.
You don't move up and take an offensive lineman. I mean,
well, no, not giving up that kind of value.
And they're not taking Barkley either. So
yeah, I don't think so. So we have New York Jets team correspondent Matt Zuccarello, not Max Zuccarello, the New York Ranger, but Matt Zuccarello.
That would be nice if Max is making the pick. That'd be funny.
That would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
But he's making the pick. The pick is in for the Jets, and here we go.
Matt Zuccarello, New York Jets correspondent for Sportsbox, with the 2018 third pick in the NFL Draft. The New York Jets regrettably select... Oh, wait. That was from years ago. But they do regrettably select from UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen. My preference would be Barkley. I know, he's a running back, too high in the draft. My other preference would be Baker Mayfield. I know, too small, but he's a winner. So those would be my choices. But I believe the Jets will go after a so-called franchise quarterback. I don't think Rosen is it, but since Darnold's gone, which I don't think he's the number 1 pick as well, and Josh Allen is gone in this draft, the Jets will go with Josh Rosen, but my preference would be Barkley or Mayfield.
Josh Rosen.
They're off the board. 3 quarterbacks.
3 quarterbacks
in the first 3 picks. Josh Rosen. There's a kid at UCLA who didn't play in his bowl game because of injury, but has the record and has the pedigree of a good quarterback. Some guys even said going into the season he was going to be the number 1 quarterback taken. But he fell to 3, fell to a Jets team, and he's a quarterback bad. He's going to get a shot. I think it's a good pick for them.
It'll be interesting. I don't know if he's going to play from the jump. I mean, given the fact that Bridgewater was signed, they still have an account. I'm curious to see what they do there if all those guys make the team. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we mentioned again for the Giants, New York's a big market. You get a big quarterback. There's going to be dueling Joshes.
Yeah.
At MetLife Stadium for hopefully for this team, the foreseeable future. Browns back up again at 4. So Browns are busy here. They got their quarterback in Darnold at 1. What are your thoughts now that that's done?
I think you might have to go defense. I mean, you still have Saquon Barkley out there, but, you know, do you go with Saquon at 4 and take your running back for the future when they have Carlos Hyde for 3 years? I mean, I know he's not probably a long-term answer, but instead you signed him for 3 years. I think this is a great spot for a defensive end. You know, Chubb is still on the board. That's a possibility. You have maybe Maurice Hurst on the board. There's a guy defensively they can take. I don't think they're going cornerback yet, but I think, in all honesty, I think Chubb could be the pick here. It may not be, but I think it's a good selection if it is.
It would be an interesting pick because, again, you add him, you know, to what they've been building there. Myles Garrett from last year.
They need a guy coming off the end to get some pass.
Well, now you got 2 of these bookend guys that can really cause havoc for a decade.
Yep.
again, the Browns are in a position where they took their quarterback after having all these years where they didn't take one. So Mike Henshaw is back up for the Browns, our Browns correspondent, and he is here with the pick at number 4.
So with the 4th selection overall, what I'd really like the Browns to do is trade back with the Buffalo Bills back to 12 and pick up the left tackle from Notre Dame at 12. But since we're not doing any trades in this mock draft, I'm going to go ahead with Chubb and team him up with Miles from last year. That'll give us one sick pass rush. So now we got our QB of the future and pretty good defense. All right.
Browns are going to be a defensive prob for a couple of years. Bradley Chubb,
that's a great pick.
Defensive end from NC State.
Yeah.
Listen, like we said, bookend guys. Who are you going to block?
You made some moves on offense to make that offense a little bit better on paper. You got to start moving to the defensive side of the ball and make this team a better defense. You got to stop people. You can't turn into the New Orleans Saints and just keep trying to outscore people. You got to stop people.
I mean, again, and a good pass rush makes your pass defense, your back end look a lot better because the quarterback can't get to throw that much time.
Sure.
William Pitt at 5 for the Broncos. Now, here's an interesting pick, Mike, because they could go a bunch of different directions here.
Yeah.
You hear rumors of them possibly going quarterback. I don't necessarily know about that. They probably would have loved to see Chubb fall to them. It didn't happen. Go next to Von Miller. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're a fit for Barkley personally, although they've always been a run-first team.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, you think Saquon Barkley too, but Barkley won't go there. Even if they release C.J. Anderson, I think that's kind of an offensive plug-and-play running back. So I don't think you need to ruin your running back. I think you might want to go defensive side of the ball with them. Do they want to go quarterback long term? You still have Baker Mayfield there. I don't know if he's going to go next, but I think maybe you wait for Denver. You look at the defensive side of the ball. And listen, defense wins Super Bowls. Absolutely. And you got to make sure you have a solid defense before you do any kind of offensive weaponry anymore, I think, in the leagues, because defense wins Super Bowls. So, I mean, I think a defensive player wouldn't be out of the question here, or even a line.
Yeah, no, again, they have a lot of stuff going on there.
Yep.
But again, they're not that far detached from a Super Bowl championship that they won defensively.
Yep.
So they might want to pad that.
But they signed their quarterback that they had for a period of time. So, I don't know. This is going to be an interesting pick.
And the pick is in from William Pitt, our Denver Broncos correspondent. And here we go.
Good day, folks. Denver Bronco correspondent for the Sports Box, Will Pitt here. Welcome to the 2018 NFL Draft, where my Denver Broncos will be making the 5th overall selection. This was a tough one for me, given the position needs and the talent that's out there. However, the first 4 picks made it a lot easier. Okay? Now, I feel as though you should definitely learn from your prior mistakes. Case in point, Paxton Lynch. Now, I'm not ready to totally write him off. And just to let you guys know, I'm not sold on Case Keenum. And in a perfect world, Kirk Cousins would be under center next season in the Mile High City. But we all know that the world is far from perfect. So without further ado, the Denver Broncos with the 5th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft select Baker Mayfield of the University of Oklahoma, quarterback position. Yes, you heard me, quarterback position. He's also the current recipient of the Heisman Trophy. Threw for 12,292 yards, 119 touchdowns, and only 21 interceptions in 3 seasons as a Sooner. I'll take him. You know, we are all about winning, and that's what he does. He's a proven winner. We need quarterback is core. It's always been core. And with Elway at the helm, you know that position has to be addressed. Everything else will work itself out. We have the stable of running backs. We have the defense. Let's do it. Thanks, Mike and Brian. Let's enjoy this upcoming season.
There's your first shocker. That's your first shocker.
That is. I mean, it's not an outlandish, horrible pick, because here's a guy.
No, I don't think so.
Here's a guy down the road who's our future, but now you gave up one of the guys that are there that you drafted 2 years ago. I mean,
I don't necessarily know about. I don't know what Mayfield's going to do at the pro level. he's an easy guy to root for, and he's going to a team with a lot around him. So from that standpoint, again, like you said, obviously this is the end of Paxton Lynch, right?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you gave up on Paxton Lynch. You drafted him 2 years ago, and you got him fairly high, didn't you? You got him in the late first round, second. Yeah, I mean, so you gave up on him already. I mean, listen, it's an outlandish pick. No, it's not if Baker Mayfield can get in there and lead this team. But, we'll see. Good for them, Denver.
So now we're going to go to the Colts at 6. Our correspondent, Jim Santora, picking for the Colts. Now, you're the Bucs correspondent at 7.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
You shared with me before the draft who you would love to get at 7.
Yeah.
And that player is still on the board.
I think, originally I thought that this team should go defense because their secondary is god-awful.
Yeah.
I mean, Minka Fitzpatrick is still their obviously corner, and you're talking about guys like Denzel Ward and things like that, the guys that would step in and really be defensive. But I think this could be, they're running into another situation that they did last year, picking another guy at that spot, then all of a sudden, O.J. Howard falls to him, stud to tight end, we got to take this guy. So if Barkley somehow falls to that pick, could be interesting.
So the Colts here, again, they did a real nice job trading with the Jets. I think it was a real big win for them. Yeah. And really, coming into this draft, I think they're going to go offensive line. They're going to go defense.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to go offensive line.
I agree that they're looking at a Fitzpatrick here, looking at maybe a Derwin James. But for me, if you're going to get... Now, Andrew, could they have gone quarterback? There was a lot of talk about that. I think that would be insane.
Yeah.
You are then giving up on Andrew Luck.
You want to go quarterback, you go late rounds for fourth or fifth.
No, you got to get a depth guy. You
that's
can't,
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A deep guy in the draft, obviously not going to beat out Luck for that job.
And again, the Colts may have come into this looking for a certain kind of player. If it's Barkley, Barkley's still there for him at 6. So even then, what a great deal with the Jets.
I don't think they're going running back because they would have gotten rid of Mack by now. They would have tried to move him or he'd be on the block. I don't think he's any kind of a draft day guy to get rid of. So I think they're set at running back. I think offensive line is the way to go, to be honest with you.
So with the pick 6, Jukebox Jim Santora making it for the Colts, and here is the pick.
This is the NFL Draft Preview. I'm Jim Santora, and my pick is with the Indianapolis Colts. Colts last year, pathetic season. And this year, there's a lot of optimism. Will Andrew Luck come back? But for the draft, there's a lot of needs outside of quarterback. Of course, we've got the Luck situation. Jacoby Brissett did what he could, regardless of the circumstances. The offensive line is a big question mark here. Last year, they were ranked 25th out of 32 teams. Not exactly a positive for this team. Got my Stratomatic board out here for Pro Football. For those familiar, if you've been familiar with a quarterback card, it says must run on it. Jacoby Brissett, when he gets his card next year, it's going to basically say across the board here, run for your life, because that's what he did last year. The offensive line, big question mark. Defense, yeah, they could draft somebody there also. They'd be looking at Chubb. He's probably going to get picked before the Colts get their shot. So who are they going to get? They're looking at guards. And primarily, they already have 2 guards. They have Joe Haig, and they also have Matt Slauson, who they picked up from the Los Angeles Chargers. Neither one of these guys rank in the top 40 amongst guards in the NFL. So they need to do an upgrade. They need to find their next great guard. And that is going to be with this pick. And that pick is going to be with Quentin Nelson, guard out of Notre Dame. 6'5", 329 pounds. He scored a 7.34 in the combine, which was number 1 amongst the guards. Get this guy into the lineup with the rest of the offensive line, and the Colts should be on their way to maybe not the playoffs, but definitely on the rise here in the NFL playoff picture. I'm Jim Santora for the Sports Box, reporting again on the Indianapolis Colts. See ya.
Well, listen. You got to keep Andrew Luck upright.
Yeah, Quentin Nelson. I mean, that's a good pick. That's a solid pick out of Notre Dame. This guy's got some size. He can do the job for you. And the Colts, listen, everyone needs an offensive line. You need a good offensive line as well. And guards are hard to come by. You don't pick them off trees. This is a good pick for the Colts.
How excited are you right now?
I'm pretty excited. I'm a little saucy right now.
So picking at number 7, our Tampa Bay Buccaneers correspondent, Hamilton, Mike Galletta.
Oh my!
So, Mike,
this is going to be a tough pick, Brian.
I'm pretty sure you need to change your pants right now.
With the Doug Martin departure from Tampa Bay and the Chris Sims not signed yet for Tampa Bay, I will select
Charles Sims, I think you mean.
Charles
Chris
Sims.
Sims was
saying Chris.
that old quarterback wasn't very good for you either.
Yeah, Phil's son. Yeah, it sucked. I think I'll take Saquon Barkley, the running back out of Penn State.
Might be the best player in the draft.
I mean, listen, they need running back help. Here's a guy who could run behind a decent line. They've upgraded at a center position in the Bucs. 2 solid tight ends. They have weaponry there with Mike Evans. This guy could slide in there and make a difference now with Jameis Winston, taking a little bit more pressure off him. I think it's a pick that you got to take the guy when he's there. You can't pass on him. Well, could they need defensive help? Yeah, but you can't pass on him.
And that's the thing. And honestly, I think that the Bucs are a prime team, given the fact that they don't really have a lot of picks in later rounds to trade out of this pick. But if they stay there again, he might be the best player in the draft, and it's very hard to not take that kind of guy.
But it is a scary pick because when you want to go in an area like defense where you know you need it and you're struggling, and this pick forces you to go to another direction. Your secondary help might be back to where it was before as mediocre when you pick a guy in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 5th round. So, is it a good pick? I think it's a great pick for them because they need running back help. But in the same sense, it doesn't address the main need that they need defense.
I don't advocate taking running backs this high, and I will say that going in.
Yeah,
you
made a note about Elliott.
It could be a very good player, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but I still don't advocate taking backs that high. So Saquon Barkley to the Bucs at 7. I know you are just absolutely thrilled.
I need to change my pants in a minute.
Picking 8th for those Chicago Bears, Kevin Krejci. Bears are an interesting team, Mike. They appear to have their quarterback taken care of in Mitch Trubisky. That's what we believe.
It's not Mike Lennon?
No. No, Mike Lennon's still cashing checks.
Oh, he's in Arizona now cashing checks.
Still cashing checks.
My buddy.
Very aggressive offseason. They added Allen Robinson to their wide receiver core. There's still questions about Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen, who's going to be the main guy there. But they're in a division with some good quarterbacks. I could see them going again. Fitzpatrick's still there. Derwin James is still there. A couple linebackers still there, and Smith and Edmonds. What are your thoughts?
I think you got to go. If you're Chicago, you got a good defense. I mean, you do have an offense that's predicated, like you said, on Mitch Trubisky. You have Cohen there. You have some pieces in place. It might not be a prolific offense, but this team needs to stop somebody. And they struggle with that on defense. They've struggled with that for a couple of years now.
They're no longer the monsters of the Midway.
No, I think, and teams like to go in areas. They like to, the kid from Michigan, Maurice Hurst, I think that could be a good fit there, a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
They could slide him in there, and he could be a kind of a guy that can play now. So, listen, if they don't go Hurst, I think they could because he's from Michigan. He's a local kid from the area. But in the same sense, they got to go defense. I think corner help would be nice. Maybe a wide receiver.
I think you go D-tackle personally. I think Vita Vea would be a nice pick for them. I like Vita Vea over Maurice Hurst personally, but I mean, I know it's like a personal preference, I think.
Could be.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think for the Bears, I think they've done some nice things offensively.
Yeah.
Might want to address that defense. And the pick is in. Kevin Krejci making the pick for the Chicago Bears at 8, and here is the pick.
This is Kevin Krejci, the New Jersey affiliate for the Chicago Bears, sounding off here for the 2018 NFL mock draft. Chicago Bears have a lot of needs. Offensive line, wide receiver, a lot of defensive holes. But with the 8th pick in the 2018 NFL draft, we're going to take Maurice Hurst, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, All-American. Great combination of size and speed. Hopefully anchor down that defense for the next 8 to 10 years. Be a run stopper. Do a great job pressuring the quarterback. But that's our 8th pick in the draft, first pick in the first round for us, the Chicago Bears.
Great call by you.
I mean, just because they like guys from the area, they like guys essentially from the area. So yeah, I mean, listen, the guy's a good pick.
I mean,
player.
He's going to be a good run stuffer for that team, especially in those cold days.
But I agree with you. Vita Vea is up there too. I mean, that would have been a good pick too to take selection.
Well, I mean, both the next D tackle, it comes down to preference.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The 49ers at 9. Andy Fido making the pick there. So they're a super interesting team, Mike, because they're. We talk about quarterback's the most important thing, and it feels like they've got theirs right now.
Yeah, they've made the big leap. I mean, you talk about a guy who looks like he could be the real deal. I mean, we still got to see a full season of Jimmy yet, but they've really stepped up their game offensively. Now I think maybe you go to the defensive side of the ball and make things happen over there. They did pick up Sherman in the offseason. They do have some components to get in there. I definitely think this team's a defensive team. They got to get back to the old days of the 49er ball where they used to rip people's heads off with Ronnie Lott and all those guys back there.
But here's the thing, too. So, again, you look at the offensive side of the ball. There aren't really a lot of offensive playmakers after Barkley in this draft, but the next one that comes to my mind is Calvin Ridley. And for a team that, you might...
Make some plays downfield.
Yeah, you might want to give this quarterback some tools to work with if you really want to see him flourish. In a division next year that outside of the Rams, I think the Niners are the second best team right now.
Yep.
So they got a lot of different options there. I wouldn't put it past your boy John Lynch to
see who could screw this week.
I mean, do something. But he's a defensive guy. Yeah. I could totally see that. But the pick is in. Andy Fido making the pick for the 49ers here on the Sports Box Team Correspondent Mock Draft, and here is the pick.
Oh, yeah, okay. So Galetta got him at 7, huh? All right. Let's just hope he doesn't buy his jersey. All right. What's up, Sports Box? This is Andy Fido, the 49ers correspondent for the Sports Box NFL 2018 mock draft. And with Maurice Hurst gone at the number 8 spot, I was going to take my boy from Michigan, but I want to keep it in the Big Ten. Take Denzel Ward from the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ran a 4.32 in the combine. He's the biggest of the 3 guys that did that. And I think he's going to immediately start opposite of Richard Sherman. And I'm so glad we're not part of this little quarterback fiasco lottery with all this talent coming out. We'll probably trade down with the Bills, the Ravens maybe, perhaps the Cardinals even. But if I had to pick, I would definitely take Denzel Ward. Great shutdown corner, NFL ready to go. Go Niners.
The Ohio State University. Denzel Ward, the cornerback.
Yeah.
Listen,
pick. It's a good pick. Like you said, Lynch likes the defense.
Sure, and they play the Rams twice a year.
Yeah.
So it's not as if they can't worry about an aerial attack.
Yeah.
And they're a team that has put some money into the defense the last couple of years, but now you got to keep that going. I mean, it's a great pick.
I like the pick because now you got Sherman back there. You're building a secondary that Seattle did and made some noise with over the years. So now you start your secondary help. Put your secondary together, see what you can do. And listen, you're going to shut some teams down on a solid secondary. So that's a good pick.
For sure. Like and in a passing league, you got to make sure your corners are right. And really, that's kind of where the Saints last year took a cornerback.
Yeah.
In Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
So
and how'd that pay off?
That worked out really, really well. The Oakland Raiders at 10. Ron Dorsey making the pick.
Gruden back
that's a storyline. But what's interesting here to me, Mike, is I think that the Raiders might have wanted Hurst or Ward here. Now, having said that, I'm still surprised. Minka Fitzpatrick's still on the board here. Nobody's taken the corner there. Now, they went corner last year with Gary and Conley, had kind of an iffy first year, but I still think the talent's there. I think they go defense, though, and I think that the Bears and Niners have pretty much made this an easier pick. I think they're going to go linebacker, and me personally, it comes down to maybe Edmonds or Smith. I think Roquan Smith's a pick here.
With the departure of Navarro, you think it makes sense for them to go linebacker on them, but like you said, secondary help wouldn't be a bad thing either. The Raiders haven't had that big guy since a while. I mean, you're talking going back to Branch when they had the secondary guys back there. It really came up and really take somebody's head off and really intimidate some wide receivers out there. I think they can go cornerback or linebacker is a possibility as well. I think, like you said, the Navarro departure, I think, kind of hurt them a little bit. So, yeah, they could be looking for a linebacker.
So with the 10th pick in the draft, Mr. Ron Dorsey making the pick on behalf of the Oakland Raiders for the Sports Box Correspondent Mock Draft, and here is the pick.
With the 10th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders have chose Roquan Smith, linebacker from Georgia.
Hey, what's up, guys? With the 10th pick, the Oakland Raiders select Roquan Smith. In my opinion, he's hands down the best linebacker in college football. He's a playmaker. He doesn't have to come off the field. He's a 3-down linebacker. He can even go and do a pass rush off the edge, sideline to sideline, man. And that's what we need for the Oakland Raiders defense. We don't have enough playmakers. You team him up with Bruce Irvin, Khalil Mack, Carl Joseph. I really think this year our defense can really step up and make plays. Gruden's back. Our offense is going to be straight. He's going to get Derek Carr straight. I'm not even worried about that. But we need to really bolster our defense up, and I think Roquan Smith is the perfect pick for the Oakland Raiders. Raider Nation out.
Oh, there you go. His daughter made the pick. I like that. I introduced him. I like that.
Very nice. And they're your boy.
Roquan, yeah.
Roquan.
No. And you see Ron there. You see, how he's very passionate about this, and
he'll like it. He'll like it in Vegas.
He's gonna
next year.
He's gonna fit that silver and black to a T. It's a real nice pick for them. Again, a
division
linebacker
where from the Georgia. Yep.
A division where again, so Baker Mayfield's there now. You still have Phillip Rivers. Mahomes is coming in there for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You got to be able to do something defensively. I think Roquan Smith's a real nice pick for them.
Yep. Absolutely.
The Dolphins, though. The Dolphins at 11. Now,
our boy Georgie.
George Carday has a lot to choose from here because there's really not a lot you can say they have ready to go.
Yeah.
Again, they lost Sue at D tackle. That's a problem.
I think they slide the linebacker in this spot because they need.
They could.
They haven't been able to stop the run in a long time. That's a problem.
Calvin Ridley here possibly. Again, you
lost Landry
to the you didn't lose him. You sent him there.
Well, you sent him there. Yeah.
But they're a team again. Could they shock the world and go like a Mason Rudolph here? I mean, again, it's early. Don't get me wrong. And the Bills right now are probably like, hey, we're trying to do something here. But
I would be really surprised if they went quarterback in this spot. I mean,
I would be too. But again, for a team that does something like that
down the road, I mean, I could see something in the 3rd or 4th round. Maybe you pick up a quarterback and give him some work. But I can't see them at 11. And this team has some holes. Like you said, wide receiver, they need some help. Linebacker, they need some help. Maybe even some secondary help because this defense isn't that good.
They got a lot of problems.
They got a lot of problems.
I mean, and that's the thing is whenever you have all that to go, like you can go a bunch of different directions and it's still a good pick.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no duplicative.
It's almost like best
duplicity.
It's almost like
it's basically BPA.
Yeah.
So here we go at number 11, George Carday making the pick for the Miami Dolphins, and here is the pick. The pick is in.
Hello everyone, this is George Carday, your Miami Dolphins correspondent for the Sports Box. In this year's 2018 NFL Draft with the 11th pick, I believe the Miami Dolphins will select Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker out of Virginia Tech. There's some family history there as his dad, Farrell Edmonds, was an all-pro tight end for the Miami Dolphins in the late 80s and early 90s. A couple quick things on Tremaine. This past year, he was a 3rd-team All-American, 1st-team All-ACC. He's 6'5", 253 pounds, who ran a 4.5440 at this year's Combine. He's only 19 years old, although he will turn 20 in May, so he still has room to grow, to get bigger, to get stronger. He's considered by many to be one of the top linebackers coming out of college this year, along with Roquan Smith from Georgia. Linebacker is an area of need for the Dolphins. For the better part of the past decade, our linebackers have been consistently shredded by the opposing team's passing game. Our hope is that not only will he be able to effectively blitz the passer, but he could drop back in coverage and be that guy who can cover somebody like maybe the likes of Gronkowski, who we have to face twice a year with the Patriots. To sum up, I believe he'll be a difference maker from day one with his combination of elite size, speed, and explosiveness. Thank you very much, and I want to give a quick shout out to my video producer, Jonathan Carday, for making this video possible. Thank you.
And there's your linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, Virginia Tech.
Good pick. The linebacker help they need. They can't stop the run. This gives them a little push inside, a little stopping power inside. That's a good pick for them. Not a bad pick.
Again, in a division where the Jets just took a quarterback.
Yep.
The Patriots clearly have one. For right now, at the very least.
Well, see if he comes to camp.
So the Dolphins take the linebacker there. Buffalo Bills, their first of 2 picks in this draft at number 12. Chris Danielson making the pick there for us. So listen, I'm sure if we did some trading in this mock, they would have tried to move up, and maybe in real life they do. But we're sticking at 12 here with the Bills, and I think personally, no matter who their quarterback is, they might look to give them a weapon. And I think Calvin Ridley is a pick that they really need to look at. Now, they have not had a lot of luck, Mike, with these first-round receivers. You think back to Sammy Watkins, wasn't really that good in Buffalo.
No.
Defensively, that's kind of where they were last year. I mean, they made the playoffs off their defense. But if the quarterback's not there for them, I don't think they overdraft here. I don't think that they do that.
Could they shock the world and go tight end at this pick because they need a tight end? I don't think so. Hayden Hurst is going to be a hell of a tight end out of South Carolina. But in the same sense, like you said, I kind of agree with you. This is a team that needs some offense. They need some playmakers. They need something that's going to help their quarterback.
Because the running game's been very strong for years.
Right.
with Shady McCoy, and they lost Tyrod Taylor.
Right, and that's not it's a big deal, but it's kind of not. AJ McCarron's going there to try to win a job. We'll see how he does there. In the same sense, I think you got to give him something around him to make him better too. You can't just leave him out there hanging with nothing to pick from. So yeah, I think Ridley's a great pick. I think if they move up to get him, but defense again with this team wouldn't be a bad idea either. But I think they're more prevalent to go on the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball.
So, and the pick is in. Chris Danielson making pick number 12 on behalf of the Buffalo Bills here at the SportsBox NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft. Here is the pick.
Hey everybody, this is Chris Danielson reporting for the SportsBox in their 2018 mock draft for the Buffalo Bills, who are picking at number 12. If I were picking for the Buffalo Bills in the first round this year, my first priority would be to draft up or to trade up for a quarterback. But I don't think that they're going to be able to do that. The Giants seem like they're holding pretty firm at number 2. And the way that this mock draft worked out, all the way down at number 12, Buffalo is going to miss out on the 4 top quarterbacks on my board. And the other position of need that I think they would need to address would be linebacker. But with Tremaine Edmonds being gone, and with Roquan Smith being gone, I think that they're going to need to, at number 12, focus on another major area of need, and that's wide receiver. This year, I think Calvin Ridley out of Alabama is the best wide receiver available. The wide receiving core that Buffalo currently has Kelvin Benjamin, who has been good and has been hurt. Zay Jones, who we're not quite sure how he's going to work out, and they just signed Jeremy Curley, which isn't exactly addressing their need of a receiver that's going to be able to take the top off of defenses. So I believe this year at number 12, Buffalo's going to pick Calvin Ridley out of Alabama. Stay tuned. We'll see if I'm right.
Alabama.
How many picks at Alabama? I'm just going to say that. How many picks at Alabama?
9 straight years, the Crimson Tide have put in a first-round pick in the NFL draft, and like we said,
and it's not going to stop. There's some other guys in there.
There's probably I could definitely see 2, 3, 4 more guys in this first round potentially.
Yeah, that's a good pick for him. We said that Calvin Ridley, good pick for them.
Well, as we get to the 19th pick for the Cowboys later on, that's going to be interesting, and we'll talk about that. But again, they need playmakers in Buffalo,
and you got a new quarterback with AJ McCarron, maybe getting a starting job, so you got to give him some help. It's just like, I hate to say it, but same thing with Dak Prescott. You got to put guys around a guy to make him better.
Well, yeah, you can't expect him to do everything himself. Correct. But, again, their running game is strong. We'll see how that pans out there for the Buffalo Bills.
Good pick for Buffalo.
Bills Mafia probably dropping people through tables right now.
I'd love to
with Calvin Ridley.
I want to bring this table to a Buffalo thing and watch everybody break their back.
See what happens.
Get medevaced out of there. They'd be crazy.
The 13th pick goes to the Washington Redskins correspondent Doug Anderson making the pick there.
The Alex Smith Washington Redskins.
Listen, I still am trying to figure that one out. I still have no idea what's going on.
Keep figuring it out. That's a mystery to like the pyramids.
I don't know why they wouldn't just give Cousins the money.
And for 2 years they bitched and moaned about the money. They finally gave the money to the quarterback with the wrong quarterback. So,
the Redskins,
I don't know.
The Redskins have been pretty much a black hole defensively for a couple of years now, especially in the secondary.
Yeah.
They're in a division, Mike, with Carson Wentz, with now Josh Allen. With, I guess, Dak Prescott, whatever. But the point is, they're going to have to stop some guys defensively.
You do have Josh Norman back there, but he can't do it all himself.
No,
he's going to need some help.
And Minkah Fitzpatrick is still on the board.
I like Minkah.
Still there.
And he was my guy for the Bucs. But when you have, like I said, that's the scary part of the Bucs. If you have a guy sitting there, you won, and all of a sudden you're going to go in a different direction. That could hurt you a little bit. But
I think Fitzpatrick might have to be the pick here. I think it's great value for the Redskins
here. He's a great cornerback. They need some help on the end. You got Norman back there, but he can always use some.
Absolutely. Like I said, secondary is always very important. So we have Doug Anderson. The pick is in for the Washington Redskins at 13 in the SportsBox NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft, and here is the pick.
With the Washington Redskins on the board for a draft 2018 first round pick number 13, the Redskins select Derwin James, safety, Florida State University. It's a great pick, fills a major need. With the loss of Kendall Fuller to the Chiefs and the trade to acquire Alex Smith, as well as the loss of Rashawn Breeland in free agency, Orlando Cindric's signing inability to stay healthy, this is a perfect pick for the Redskins. It fills a major need on the defense, where the Redskins were woeful to say the least. Adding him in means he can play either corner spot, either safety spot, or even play the nickel, play linebacker in the nickel defenses. I see the Redskins with a major upgrade here. I see them also going defense in the second round. The only way this pick could be better is if the Redskins trade down, acquire other picks, and add more defensive players at that point. Look forward to the update on how the Redskins beat the Eagles twice this year, which is a lock, guaranteed.
Okay. That's not the way I would have gone, but I get it.
Derwin James. Yeah, I mean, he's a good safety.
Best safety in the draft.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Different position we thought we were going. We thought we were going on the outside corners because corners are tough to find too. But in the same sense, you could bottle up the middle, get some help over the top for your cornerback. That's okay too. You could have an average cornerback there and get some safety help over the top for. But that's what they were doing with Norman anyway. So maybe they're going in that direction with that.
Listen, I mean, you can never have enough secondary guys. I mean, and if they preferred James, they preferred the safety, the natural safety, then I get it. But they're going to be a team, obviously. I don't know what they do this year. I think it's an influx year for sure.
Yep.
Ryan Havermail at 14 for the Green Bay Packers. You know, he's probably right now. He's probably doing backflips. Because something tells me I'm gonna call his pick right now.
Yeah, but see, I think the Packers could also use a guy off the end too. You need some defensive help.
Yeah, but
I mean, secondary would be nice. Secondary would be some more help for Clinton Dix and those crew back there. They're really not good defensively. They can't really stop the run effectively or the pass effectively, so they can go in either direction.
You know, they put two second round picks into that secondary last year.
Yep.
Kevin King one of them. I think Josh Jones was the other.
Yep.
So they're building it. And I think, I just feel right now that I don't think that Ryan's going to be able to not take Fitzpatrick here.
He's a stud cornerback. I mean, he comes up and hits, and he can cover with the best of them.
For me, in that division, again, with Kirk Cousins, you still have the Detroit with their passing attack, which is always potent, and the Bears maybe someday are going to have one.
I'm thinking Josh Sweat at this position, too, defensive end, a little push off the corner as a Florida State guy.
He'd be a touch high, I think, for me.
Well, he could, but Minka Fitzpatrick is a guy that's hard to pass on. So
yeah,
I agree with you. That could be the pick here.
Would be shocking, although it's okay. This is the NFL.
Yeah.
Ryan Havermail is up. The pick is in at 14 for the Green Bay Packers. The NFL team correspondent draft here on the Sports Box, and here is the pick.
Good afternoon, Sports Box members. This is Ryan Havermail reporting for the Green Bay Packers at the second annual Sports Box NFL mock draft. I took a look at everybody else's picks, and it really was a pretty quick decision. I'm going to be running to the podium, flipping, and doing whatever else I can do, which really isn't much. And I'm going to take Minka Fitzpatrick, the do-it-all defensive back from the University of Alabama. Really not a tough sell for me. I think he's arguably, him and Denzel Ward are the two best defensive backs in this draft by far. We already have another guy, Clinton Dix, in our secondary from Alabama. He's had a tough year last year, but the year before he proved that he could be an elite secondary safety, free safety, strong safety, whatever you want him to play in this league. And I believe that Fitzpatrick brings even more to the table with his athleticism, his pedigree, his will to win. And the one thing that you really have to look at in the NFL these days when you're drafting a young man that high, 14 is pretty high, especially for Green Bay. You're making an investment in the human being as well, and this guy, by all accounts, has the opposite of character issues. He's a great teammate, good person, and an elite level athlete. He's immediately going to plug in and start in that secondary. Granted, not very hard to do in Green Bay right now, but you put him on the other end of Kevin King, a guy they drafted out of Washington, big, tall, lanky, great defender, good ball skills out of Kevin King, and you're looking at a guy with even better ball skills, just natural playmaking ability, and again, the pedigree that he brings from the University of Alabama, where he had a solid season every time every time he went on the field. He was one of the better players on the field. So, again, thank you all for taking everyone else that you took. I'm going to be taking Minka Fitzpatrick, University of Alabama.
There it is.
Water's wet, right? So, I mean, obviously,
that.
Listen, it's a great pick. It's a great pick.
He fell to 14. He was supposed to be a top 10 guy.
He could have gone 4 to the Browns.
Yeah.
That's
a good pick.
That's a phenomenal pick for Green Bay. And again, they go to that secondary. They build up that secondary with an Alabama guy. You know, They're coming, so that's a pro program. You know, Saban really pushes those guys.
Yeah,
they're ready for the pros when they get
a guy you could plug in and he's ready to go. So
absolute slam dunk pick for the Pack there. 15 Arizona Cardinals. Anthony Cruz, the team correspondent there. Man, this team's gotten old really quick, Mike. You know, I remember being in these previews we do every year, thinking the Cards are going to be good. The Cards are going to be good.
Yeah, well, they held on to a quarterback, I think, way too long, and now they're struggling with that. They do have Sam Bradford coming in and Mike Glennon backing them up. But
wow,
boy, that's
confidence inspiring.
That's a riveting duo right there. So yeah, but in the same sense, I don't think they're going quarterback at the position. I don't think Mason Rudolph's the guy that they would look at to bring in to be the guy for the future. I think they would start. The rebuild for Arizona starts now. I think they really are going to start rebuilding. This offensive line is where you got to start from. Listen, the kid from Notre Dame is still out there, Mike McGlinchey. I think that's a good pick to go to, or Orlando Brown from Oklahoma. I think either one of those
You're
picks.
thinking offensive line.
I'm thinking offensive line here because whoever they bring in, especially Sam Bradford. I mean, he's not exactly the most healthy guy in the world.
No.
So you got to
keep him upright, and he's basically a statue.
Right, and it's kind of like a Giants situation where your line stinks. And you got to prolong a guy as long as you can to survive right now. So why not try to upgrade to give him the line and maybe give him a little bit of help? So I think offensive line is the way to go.
I think they're a team. You know, you know what? Mason Rudolph wouldn't shock me here either. You know, they could. The problem for them, Mike, is they would have loved to move up and get a quarterback, but they don't have the horses. They don't have the picks to do it.
To move up, right?
It's interesting. I mean, I could totally see that. I do think they go off on the side of the ball.
Yeah.
They could go. You know, with the secondary again. Honey Badger's gone now.
Yep.
So that is an opening. The pick is in here for Anthony Cruz, number 15 for the Arizona Cardinals. Here, the NFL team correspondent mock draft here on the Sports Box.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Anthony Cruz, also known as DJ Cruz, and I am the Arizona Cardinals correspondent for the Sports Box. In the 2018 NFL Draft, I have the Arizona Cardinals picking offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey from Notre Dame. Real quick, I'm going to tell you why. In 2017, Mike McGlinchey was a consensus All-American in 2017. He does a great job getting underneath opponents and generating movement at the point of attack. In my opinion, I think he is the second-ranked best offensive tackle in the draft behind teammate Quentin Nelson, also out of Notre Dame. I believe he can help the Cardinals out in blocking, especially they were 30th in rushing, also due to the fact that David Johnson was hurt for the rest of the season after the opening game, and they were 25th in points, which is pretty much of a struggle. And especially at quarterback, you have Sam Bradford, very injury-prone. He's going to need all the protection he can get. And also, Arizona needs a quarterback, but I don't see them having the assets for being able to trade up and get quarterbacks. I feel like all those quarterbacks, Rosen, Darnold, Mayfield, maybe even Lamar Jackson, can go early. So I don't think the Cardinals will be able to take a quarterback, but I think their best option would be taking McGlinchey at pick number 15 as the offensive tackle to start their new campaign this year. Thank you.
Mike McGlinchey, Notre Dame, offensive tackle.
That's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick.
No, it's, again, I mean, you can never have enough offensive line.
No, and you can get a quarterback in the second, or third, or fourth round.
Yeah.
That maybe won't be a stud this year or next year, but you can build them.
You know what? I think if Calvin Ridley was there, they probably would be taking a long look at him there.
Jimmy Garoppolo was drafted in the third round, so, you could get a guy like that. You never know.
Well, you could hit a scratch-off ticket, that's right. Dak was a fourth round pick.
I'd love to hit a scratch-off ticket right now. But anyway, all right, so that's a good pick.
So next up, the Ravens at 16. Nick Nazario, our team correspondent there,
who has been linked to every wide receiver in the league. They've been picking up wide receivers left and right.
Sign this guy, sign that guy. And their problem, again, could they go receiver here, Mike?
No,
they can't. One?
They got enough receivers. They've and they're not good ones, but they've loaded up on enough receivers. Who knows? They might even get Des Bryant. We don't even know that yet. So
we don't.
I think the receiver position is fine for them. I think they got to go. They got to get back to the old Ravens team that they were.
You know who I would love for them? Hayden Hurst. I would love that because Baltimore's had a history, especially Flacco.
Since Todd Heap when he was healthy.
Yeah, and even I can't think of his name right now, but he got injured. What's his stupid name? I can't think of his name. The tight end from Baltimore. It'll come to me when I don't know what it is. But the guy was hurt, missed a lot of time, and then there's never really returned. Yeah, you can look it up.
Okay.
I think the tight end here would be very interesting. And Hayden Hurst is a guy that I have high on my board for teams that are looking at the tight end. I don't know if they are or not. They're always looking. Dennis Pitta. That's what I'm thinking of. Ben Watson, even. I mean, and Daniels. I mean, they've had guys.
Sterling Sharp.
They've had guys run through there.
They've had a prolific part of tight ends in there. Ed Dickinson. I mean, Todd Heap, Owen Daniels. They've had a lot of Baltimore Raven guys in there.
So I think that they're going to want to go to offense here. I think they're going to want to help Joe Flacco, give him something to work with. If they expect to be to contend in a division that's continually getting better. You know, the Steelers are sort of class of the division. The Browns are going to get out of this at some point. I know that's kind of heresy sometimes, but it's going to happen.
Hayden Hurst wouldn't be a bad pick here. I don't think that a tight end for them wouldn't be a bad position. They need some kind of help for Joe Flacco to help him out for where his team is going right now. So, I mean, offense wouldn't be a bad idea.
So, we will see. And again, Nick has the pick in here. So, Nick Nazario making the pick for the Baltimore Ravens at 16. And here is the pick.
All right, so I'm going to be picking for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, admittedly, I am not a Ravens fan, but I am a Mel Kiper fan. So, I think I know a little bit about the Baltimore Ravens. So, my first indication was wide receiver. However, the guy that I was most interested in, Calvin Ridley, is gone. Therefore, move to my second indication, which was offensive line. Obviously, I would love to have Quentin Nelson, but again, he went very high. Mike McGlinchey would fill a need, but again, he's also gone. So in this case, I don't have too many options. Now, Ozzie Newsome came out a couple weeks ago and said that this pick was going to be a surprise. Now, that could mean quarterback, since Joe Flacco is not very good. And he's going on his mid-30s. However, every quarterback worth taking, the 3 top-tier quarterbacks, are gone. And there's another quarterback who shouldn't have went in Baker Mayfield. Therefore, I'm going to move to the position that Baltimore usually covets, and that's pass rusher. Now, Baltimore has a long history of pass rushers, starting with Terrell Suggs, moving on to Adulis Thomas, and they even tried to go out and get Elvis Dumervil. Elvis Dumervil didn't work out as well as he did in Denver, but in this case, pass rusher seems like a very good need for the Baltimore Ravens. Marcus Davenport is sitting there. Now, Davenport is from a small school. I don't like him. I think he's going to be an okay pro, but he's not as explosive as the guy I'm going to pick. Now, every year, someone creeps into this first round that probably shouldn't go there or is probably ranked lower than this. Starting with guys like Jarvis Jones, guys like Larry English, guys like Bruce Irving, all these guys, DeMarcus Lawrence, these guys creep into the first round because they are pass rushers. And pass rushers is a premium position in the NFL. Now, this guy was probably the number 1 recruit in the nation coming out of high school. He's a freak athlete. Now, he tore his ACL, and that's what set him back. He's only had 12.5 sacks the last 2 years, but he did have 24 quarterback pressures, which is very impressive. Now, so I'm going to go off the board. This is a guy that Mel Kiper has going in the second round. Todd McShay is going in the third round. I've seen the experts go as low as the fourth. They're wrong. This guy's going to go in the first round, and that's Josh Sweat, linebacker, pass rusher from Florida State. Okay, even if he doesn't go here to Baltimore in the real NFL draft, mark my words, this guy is going at the end of the first round. Pure athleticism trumps everything. So, again, my pick for the Baltimore Ravens is Josh Sweat, linebacker, Florida State University.
Wow. That could be a shock.
That's early. That's
And Josh Sweat is a guy who's going to give you some push around the end and going to get to the quarterback. Fast guy, But, you can't blame Baltimore going back to that old style Baltimore defense. So that's not a
second guy in the draft from that Florida State Seminole defense. I mean, pass rush is pass rush. I get it. I don't know that I would have taken him this high. And I think if that's Baltimore's target, I think they might look to trade down. But it is. I had a second-round view on him. So I'm kind of surprised to see him there at 16. But it's probably good news for Leo Rodriguez at 17 for the Los Angeles Superchargers. Listen.
We didn't have that planned either.
We're like the cuff. We're like this. They need O-line help, right?
They need O-line help because their quarterback is older than dirt.
Like 50 years old, right? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. And here's a team that has to. Can I say it again? Has to draft a quarterback later on in this draft because
they can't do it here.
Philip Rivers is a guy. Yeah, okay, good quarterback, maybe, but maybe getting on the downside of his career. So you're going to need a guy in there that is going to have to fill his shoes down the road eventually. But for now, another Giant situation, you need some O-line help for him to keep him upright.
Well, I think
if not, we're going to have a long season.
Well, I think last year, that Mike Williams pick, I think, listen, they got to figure that thing out.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me they're trying to elongate Rivers' career by giving him people to work with.
Yep.
Defensively, again, their secondary isn't that great, but Joey Bosa gives them a pass rush.
Yeah.
Which
takes some help it gives some help to the secondary.
Right. And I don't necessarily think that they need to look at that right now.
Yep.
But they do need to figure something out on the O-line because you got to do something.
Yeah, their O-line is falling apart.
So the pick is in here for Leo Rodriguez at 17 for the Los Angeles Chargers here on the Sportsbox NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft. Here is the pick.
Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Leo, your San Diego, now Los Angeles Charger sports affiliate. So, with the 17th pick of the draft, the Chargers are going to select Orlando Brown Jr. from Oklahoma. Now, a lot of people are saying that the Chargers need another pick on defense, and maybe it's time to get a quarterback. Philip Rivers is aging. While I agree that we do need some extra talent on defense, unfortunately, the best players that fit into the Los Angeles Chargers at this time are already taken off the board. So I think we have to roll the dice. Philip Rivers ended up having a phenomenal statistical year. And, I believe they won 9 out of their last 12 games. And if it wasn't due to some injuries on the offensive line, I think we could have even been playing better than we were. And that will also kind of help out the defense. Melvin Gordon definitely needs some big blockers up there, so it's really, really a win-win. And, sure as heck can't get worse than the Mike Williams pick last year. So, Orlando Brown, let's give Philip Rivers 2-3 more years and see what he can do.
Hey.
More shocker.
How about that? Orlando Brown, offensive tackle from Oklahoma. Listen, best tackle I think that was left on the board.
I kind of like Connor Williams too, but I agree. Orlando Brown is a good
I like Brown there. I think Brown could have easily gone to where McGlinchey went at 15. I don't easily have seen that.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's a slam dunk pick for the Chargers.
Yeah.
It fills a need, and that's really really. In a lot of ways, I wouldn't say he's best player available, but I think he's best player available at one of their positions of need.
Yep.
So for that, I like that. Going up to the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Brandon Gazzara is making the pick for the Seahawks. So a lot of stuff going on in Seattle.
Well, and here's a Seattle team that this is kind of a no-brainer if you follow the football way. They're going back to getting that secondary back to Legion of Boom. That's what really got them going with everything else. I think they're definitely going defensive back here. I think defense is the side of the ball they want to go to. The offensive side of the ball, even though they lost Jimmy Graham, I still think is okay.
You would look at Hurst here for them?
It's not a bad pick to take a tight end here, but I don't think they're going to put him that high up on the pedestal. Jimmy Graham was kind of a freak that they got in trade, so they didn't train him to be or draft him to be that kind of player. I think defense is the side of the ball they want to go to. They want to go to a cornerback with the departure of Sherman, and who knows how long Cam Chancellor has because he's been hurt a bunch of times too, and talking about Ed Thomas has been hurt as well. So I think secondary is the way to go.
Well, if you look at corner here, Jair Alexander is going to be available there. Mike Hughes available. Josh Jackson available.
Yeah,
probably your top options there. I do agree with you. I think that although their offensive line has been just absolutely horrendous the past couple of years. So Connor Williams here, and again,
wouldn't be bad.
They might have taken Brown had he fallen.
Yeah, and considering the running back situation where they can't keep a running back healthy, that the offensive line wouldn't be a bad idea as well.
Yeah. So and the pick is in.
Yep.
The Seattle Seahawks pick made by Brandon Gazzara here at pick 18. Sportsbox NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft. Here is the pick.
Hi guys, I'm Brandon Gazzara, Seattle Seahawks correspondent for the Sports Box. And with the 18th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select cornerback Josh Jackson. Big, tall kid, can play man coverage against number one receivers, great ball skills, and he's going to replace Richard Sherman on the outside, and he can play both sides of the field, unlike Richard Sherman, who only really played the left side. The Seahawks lost Richard Sherman. They lost Jeremy Lane, two of their starting corners from last year, and they also lost Michael Bennett. With the addition of Josh Jackson, they get younger on the outside on the defense, and they improve their defense tremendously, a defense that struggled last year, surprisingly, to hold teams from scoring points and gave up a lot of yards. So with the pick of Josh Jackson, the Seahawks will improve, and they will have a chance to compete in the tough NFC West next year and years moving forward because, again, they have Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, great GM, and as long as you have those three things, they will be able to compete for a long time. And plus the addition of Josh Jackson on the defensive side will really help them bolster their defense and be a competitive team in the NFC West.
Corner it is.
There it is.
Josh Jackson, corner out of Iowa.
I think they just had that mindset. They want to get back to Legion of Doom because that's what got them there before. I mean, that's what really carried them before. So I don't think it's a bad pick. I think it's an okay pick.
I think that could be a trade down candidate too.
Could be.
So at 19, it's me.
Oh, get out.
Cowboys are up here at 19.
Get your popcorn, folks.
So Cowboys, they have needs, obviously.
Yes, they do.
Their O-line's fine. Their running back's fine. The quarterback is what it is, whether you like him or not. He's not going to be changing it. So, to me, I think my biggest fear here, Mike, is that this draft's in Dallas. And given the fact that they just got rid of Des Bryant, I feel as though Jerry might want to appease the sect of the fan base that's, all about the here and now. Make a splash, if you will.
Right.
The fact that Calvin Ridley's not here, I think, is a good thing if you don't want Dallas to go receiver. Because now they got to think about it. Mm-hmm. Do you like a DJ Moore at 19? Do you like a Cortland Sutton at 19? And honestly, I don't like either of them at 19.
Yeah.
And I think you look at what the team needs. And to me, unless you're looking at Rashaan Evans at linebacker,
you're going D-line, aren't you?
I am going D-line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just shocker to me that Vita Vea is still here from Washington. I thought he would have gone a lot higher than this.
Yep.
And again, with DeMarcus Lawrence on one side, you got to think Taco Charlton figures something out on the other side.
Yep.
You slot Vita Vea in there.
That's a
really good addition to your defense.
He pans out, yeah.
For sure,
I think he'll be a good pick for them.
So for me, on behalf of the Dallas Cowboys at 19, I'm going to select Vita Vea, the defensive tackle out of Washington.
Yep.
I don't know if the Cowboys are smart enough to do that. That's what I would do. But I'm not making the pick. But if I was, that's my guy.
Vita Vea is your guy. I like Vita Vea. That's a good pick. Good player out of Washington.
So at 20, one of my favorite correspondents, Ed Thompson.
Easy Ed Thompson.
Love him. Love him. And he's got a big pick here for the Lions at 20. They signed Blunt. I have my thoughts on that. I don't think Blunt's a real good NFL running back.
It's a shame that their running back position is so up in the air because they can't stay healthy. But and they're paying a quarterback that hasn't really got a playoff game spelled or haven't gotten far in the playoffs. A Detroit team that also can't stop anybody either. I mean, they've been struggling on defense for a while.
Yeah, D's been a problem.
So you could go D-line, you can go linebacker, or you can go defensive backs. I mean, you can go across the board with this.
Well, plus Matt Patricia is a defensive guy, so you might think they look at that here.
Yeah, I think they do go defensive.
And there's not really a lot of offensive. I mean, again, you're not going to go Hayden Hurst here. I know you just got rid of Eric Ebron.
No.
I don't see that happening.
No, that Eric Ebron ships.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think defense. You got to go defensive side of the ball. One of those three sets of positions, I think, is fine.
Okay. No, and I don't disagree with you. I think that's a position in need. I think it's a good spot to address here.
Yep.
And the pick is in. Ed Thompson making pick number 20 on behalf of the Detroit Lions here on the Sportsbox NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft. Here is the pick.
This is Ed Thompson, correspondent for the Sportsbox for the Detroit Lions. 20th pick. Who do I pick? Deron Payne from Alabama. Yes, that defensive tackle. I'll be glad to see him next to Ashawn Robinson making some noise in the middle of the line for the Detroit Lions. Well, too bad Vita was picked up, but it's all good. We got Deron. And we like to build in the trenches. That's where the game is won. He's a great run stopper. He's very athletic. He did great at the combine. And like I said, next to a former Alabama player, Ashawn Robinson, I think they'll make a lot of noise. And I look forward to that. And especially with this new coaching scheme, this new defensive scheme with Matt Patricia, the new head coach, and Paul Pasqualoni. It'll be something to see. Again, this is Ed Thompson, correspondent for the Sports Box.
Dude, Nick Saban is smiling right now. Nick Saban, that's his third Crimson Tide in this first
drive won't stop either.
There might be some more guys. Yeah. Again, a big run stopper in Deron Payne. You go back to when Detroit had Sue and Fairley, and that didn't work out too well for him. No. But they might be trying to kind of fix that part of their line.
Well, they need somebody in the middle of the field anyway. Excuse me. In the middle of the line anyway, to stop the run. I know I can't stop. When you have kids, it's horrible.
I'm getting
there. But a great pick, Deron Payne. I like the pick.
Yeah, no, I think he's probably pissed at me for taking Vita Vea.
Yeah, he'll get over it.
At least for these
Hopefully
purposes.
it doesn't turn into a Ramsey thing like you, but anyway, that's fine.
For anybody who's listening who watches Sports Box a lot, listen, I am a very, very vocal critic. The Cowboys should have taken Jalen Ramsey at 4.
Sorry,
the year that they took Ezekiel Elliott.
All right, so next pick.
So we get a pick 21 here. The Cincinnati Bengals. We got Nate Bechtel making that pick for us at 21.
Yep.
So interesting. They traded down with they got the 21 from Cordy Glenn, getting them brought over from Buffalo to help the offensive line. And to me, I think that's indicative of what they're going to go with here.
Yep.
Their skill positions, I think they're fine across the board. Whether you're looking at the quarterback, the running back, the receivers, the tight end, I really like what they have there. It hasn't materialized, but I think the talent is there. And defensively, they're an underrated defense. I think the biggest problem is their coach is just, I have no idea how he starts.
Their coach was going to retire, and they actually
How
he's been
the
so bad. They said, here, come back, we'll pay you more.
How he's got a job.
Yeah.
I mean, I know unemployment's down in this country, but come on.
The Cincinnati Bengals have made the absolutely biggest disappointment move in the NFL history. When you have a coach that hasn't done squat for you in 15 years, that he's been the coach and does absolutely nothing to get them over the hump, decides to leave, and you say, you know what? Come on back, I'll give you more money. How do you do that? But in the same sense, though, with Cincinnati, like you said, their defense, I think, is fine. I think this is another team that needs some offensive line help because of the fact that they want to keep Andy Dalton upright and give him another opportunity to try to move the ball. I mean, last year he was sacked a lot of times last year. He did have a rough year. He had a lot of picks last year. I think it's because of the pressure. I think they go offensive line for him. They try to give him some help back.
And there are some options here. Isaiah Wynn's still on the board. Colton Miller, Connor Williams, a couple guys still that are there.
Yep.
Anybody stand out to you from that group? If that's the right
I like Isaiah Wynn from Georgia. Connor Williams wouldn't be a bad pick either. I think they need O-line help. I think if they don't go tackle.
I don't disagree at all.
It could be a stunner. They could go in a different direction, but I think offensive line is the way to go.
You think they can go quarterback?
Stone Cold stunner. No.
Move on from that.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That'd be perfect to go Mason Rudolph here.
There is Nate Bechtel with the pick. The pick is in at 21 for the Bengals here in the Sports Box Correspondent mock draft, and here is the pick.
Hi, Nate Bechtel, Cincinnati Bengals correspondent for the Sports Box. With the 21st pick of the 2018 Sports Box NFL Mock Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Connor Williams, offensive tackle, Texas. It's no secret the Bengals are looking for offensive line help this offseason. They move from 12 to 21, pick up Cordy Glenn, shore up the left tackle spot. It's going to be a huge get and going to keep a lot of heat off of Dalton. Left side's good with him and Bowling, a couple of former Bulldogs. Was tempted to take another former Bulldog in Isaiah Wynn and shore up that right guard spot, but tackle is not a deep position in this draft, so I think you get a McGlinchey or Williams in the first round, or you have a project in a Miller or a Orlando Brown later on. So it's kind of a no-brainer to take the tackle, move to the second round, hopefully land a Frank Ragnow from Arkansas. We need a center, or potentially Billy Price from The Ohio State University. A guy that I think I would have been hard-pressed to not take at 21 if he hadn't torn the pec at the combine. So offensive line's the order of the day. I truly believe the Bengals are a team that drafts BPA, so there's a solid chance they would have taken a Marcus Davenport, defensive end here. But in my mind, if I'm playing GM, you got to get that offensive line right. You got to get the running game moving. You got to get heat off of Dalton. You got to get mixing some lanes. So Connor Williams is a no-brainer, and move on into the second round and hopefully keep upgrading that offensive line. Hopefully it plays out this well in a week. We'll see. All I can say right now is hoo-day, and here's to a damn good season for the Bengals.
And there you go. And listen, like we said, Connor Williams out of Texas.
One of the offensive tackles, yeah.
It fits a need for them. I can totally understand that.
Yep.
And if they stay at that pick, it seems that they're going to put some money into the line.
Mm-hmm.
It makes some sense.
Yeah.
I completely get that.
Yep.
Chris Danielson's back up again for those Buffalo Bills. And you know, Mike, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're back at 22. So he went with Ridley at 12. So now, I don't know where they're going to go with this pick.
I think you go with some secondary help. I think this team, they can use some secondary help. They can use linebackers as well. And there's some linebackers out there that are still decent. Like Leighton Vander Esch.
Yeah.
They could get a linebacker to help them out.
Hughes is still there. Jair Alexander out of Louisville is still there. There's a lot of guys. I guess they have some options here.
Yeah.
They haven't gotten a quarterback yet. I don't necessarily know if this is a spot for it.
I don't think so.
But
like I said, you brought A.J. McCarron. I think he's kind of maybe not a long-term answer, but I think you got to take a look at him for a couple of years and see what he can do.
Yeah. So again, the pick is in. Chris Danielson at pick 22 for the Buffalo Bills here in the Sportsbox Correspondent mock draft, and here is the pick.
Hey, Sportsbox fans, it's me again, Chris Danielson. Reporting on this year 2018 mock draft for the Sportsbox with the Buffalo Bills picking again at number 22. Bills have 2 first-round picks this year as a result of a trade with Kansas City last year. And like I said earlier, I think the Bills' 2 main positions of need this year are going to be linebacker and quarterback. If they do strike out on trading up for a quarterback in the first round, I think that with the 22nd pick, they're going to end up taking Mason Rudolph out of Oklahoma. I believe that it could be a crapshoot between Lamar Jackson and Mason Rudolph. The reason I go with Mason Rudolph instead of Lamar Jackson is an undersized, athletic quarterback, a lot like the one that Buffalo just got rid of in Tyrod Taylor. Mason Rudolph seems like he more fits the mold of what GM Brandon Beane likes in a quarterback. He's 6'5". He's a big guy in the pocket. He's going to not be too mobile, but he's going to kind of be a pocket passer, and that's what they want in Buffalo. Not going to be too long now before we find out whether I'm right or I'm wrong, but I do believe that Buffalo comes away with a quarterback in the first round this year, whether it be at 12 or at 22. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you guys later.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
Talk about a stone cold stunner. That's a shock to me.
RKO out of nowhere.
That is. Mason Rudolph is a guy that I never expect to go to the Bills, especially after the quarterback departure that they had. You're bringing in a guy like A.J. McCarron, a young guy.
That's the 5th quarterback in so far in this first
When
round.
you're talking about a guy, he's a good quarterback, but you're talking about a situation where, A.J. McCarron's in there, and you gave the guy a shot to be a starter, and now you're bringing a guy behind him, look over his shoulder.
But now, and again, I know they needed a quarterback.
You have other needs, though, with this team.
Well, no, that's their primary need, which is why they keep saying they might trade up to go get one.
Right.
I don't know that I would take Rudolph at 22. They're going to regret, and I think, not taking Deshaun Watson for many years.
Yeah.
They are.
That's just,
But it is what it is. I mean, I get it for the Bills. I just don't know that I wouldn't have. I don't know that I would have taken him that high.
But then again, Deshaun Watson might not flourish in that system.
That's fair.
So that's
fair. The rich get richer. The New England Patriots at 23. Kevin Zane.
Never thought they'd be that low in the draft.
Unreal.
In the first
Kevin
round.
Zane making the pick here for the Pats. Their first of 2 picks in this round.
Yep.
So this is the pick that they got from the Rams in exchange for Brandon Cook. So I guess my question for you is this: only Ridley's off the board. So do you think that they look at receiver here to fill that spot right away? Again, Moore is still there. Cortland Sutton is still there.
I don't think so, because this is a team, New England, where as Denver's position is a plug-and-play running back, I think New England's is a plug-and-play wide receiver. And you do have Edelman coming back. You do have, not Amendola. Who is the other guy they have there? He lost Cooks.
Chris Hogan?
Chris Hogan. You have Chris Hogan there who's serviceable. I don't think it's a totally hands-on-deck wide receiver move right now. Believe it or not, that they go to the defensive side of the ball, because their defense at the beginning of the year was 30th.
Well,
and they came on at the end of the year, but they were still, look how bad they were in the Super Bowl. I mean, they gave up 600 yards.
Here's where they are, though. Wouldn't shock me at all to see offensive tackle here, something on the offensive line, because they lost Sauter, they lost Fleming, so it's big, and that's been a problem for a couple of years now. I mean, Brady makes it look good because he's Brady. But having said that, Brown's off the board, McGlinchey's off the board, and Williams is off the board, and I don't know if Bill's the kind of guy to stretch for a pick.
I think they go somewhere on the defensive side of the ball because they need help, because they were last in the league in defense. They have to start building.
And again, they did just lose Malcolm Butler.
Yeah.
Unceremoniously.
Well, that wasn't losing. That was just kind of threw him off the tee. That was,
by loss, I mean,
right. By the loss,
dropped him off on the side of the road.
Right, exactly.
So
guy wins the MVP of the Super Bowl last year. Get rid of him next year.
The pick is in for Kevin Zane at number 23 for the Patriots. Picking here on the Sports Box NFL Team Correspondent mock draft. Let's go to the pick.
With the 23rd pick in the 2018 Sports Box NFL mock draft, the New England Patriots select Rashaan Evans, linebacker, Alabama. Evans is a player whose stock appears to be rising as of late, so I'd be very happy to see him available in this spot. And the thinking here is that Evans could eventually become a leader on this defense for years to come, playing alongside fellow Bama alum Dante Hightower, and filling a hole that the Patriots have struggled to fill since the departures of Gerard Mayo and Jamie Collins. And also, Bill Belichick could have a little more insight into Evans and his character than most teams have due to his relationship with Nick Saban. So, assuming Evans passes that test, and I think he does, I think he'd be a great fit for the Pats D.
Defense it is, and Alabama again. It's a fourth guy.
Yeah, but linebacker helps. Linebacker is where they need to be in the way of defense. They need something on defense to try to strengthen this defense because they were so awful last year. But I'm okay with that.
No, again, I mean, yeah, they do. They need, they actually have some interesting holes given the fact how good they are. And it's not going to stop them from being good again,
right?
But they do have some holes to fill. Monty Fetty Jr. up at 24 for those Carolina Panthers. They're a team right now that would love to go for the offensive line, give somebody some blocking on that run offense there, but they need defensive help too. They could look to D end at Harold Landry. They could look at D tackle. Taven Bryan's still there. They could look at a corner. Mike Hughes is still there. Jair Alexander's still there. Probably surprised with some of the guys that are there for them. Wynn, Miller. What's your take?
They could go wide receiver in here too.
Yeah, that's true.
They need some wide receiver help.
DJ Moore? You thinking DJ Moore? Sutton?
I think I'm more Sutton than DJ Moore.
Okay.
But this is going to be interesting for Carolina because here's a team that struggled defensively a little bit last year too. Maybe mid-pack in wave defensively. I don't know if it's a total need to go defense.
Josh Norman. That's the problem.
No, they let him go and they thought they can get by without him, but it's really missing back there.
And they might have liked Rashaan Evans though because Kuechly can't stay healthy.
Yeah, so I think they're definitely going defensive side of the ball. I just don't know where yet. I haven't pinned it down. Maybe D line, maybe corner. I think it's somewhere on the defensive side of the ball though.
Okay. And the pick is coming in here from Monty Fetty Jr. Number 24 picking for the Panthers here for the Sports Box mock draft. And here is the pick.
Hey, how are we doing, everyone? This is Monty Fetty here with the Sports Box, and I am your representative of the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers select 24th overall in this year's 2018 NFL Draft, and our top three needs would be safety or cornerback help in the secondary, adding a pass catcher from tight end or receiver, or also adding depth to the O-line. I actually have us choosing Mike Hughes, the cornerback from USC, University of Central Florida, and I believe his size and speed combination matched with his aggressiveness would be an immediate impact in Carolina's secondary. I actually have him graded as a top 5 cornerback in this year's class of corners, and I am very excited to see what we do this year in the 2018 draft. This is Monty Fetty signing out. Keep pounding.
And there you go. Mike Hughes, cornerback out of UCF.
Okay.
So, they do address it. I personally liked Alexander over Hughes, but that's splitting hairs.
That's okay. Yeah.
I think for Carolina, it's a nice pick.
That's a good pick. That's fine. Yeah, it's where they had to go. It's where they had to address the need. That's fine. I mean, you're getting into picks now where guys are good players, but teams are just trying to really find that diamond in the rough. That's really what they're trying to do.
Right.
So
25, Tennessee Titans are up there with Alan Merlino making that pick as our Titans correspondent. Interesting offseason for them. You know, they made the playoffs last year I don't even know how they made the playoffs last year, and they won a game. Still don't figure that one out. Obviously, Mariota's your guy, although he hasn't really progressed, I think, the way they wanted him to.
Right.
Interesting to see what they do again. They added Malcolm Butler in free agency. They've been aggressive. I think they go defense here.
I think they do too, and I think they need a guy that's going to get to the quarterback and try to cause some havoc for him. The end wouldn't be a bad idea. Defensive tackle wouldn't be a bad idea. Somewhere on the defensive line they have to go to, but I think they need a little bit more push up the middle. Their secondary isn't horrible.
Well, they added to it.
Yeah, I mean they added to it with Malcolm Butler. So in the same sense, you got to give them a little bit more D line help. So I think D line is the way to go. Yep.
Yeah, no, and again, I agree with you. I think offensively they're doing okay. I think that they've addressed it as much as they can.
Yeah, and I think Harold Landry's still out there. DN.
He is still out there.
That wouldn't be a bad pick either. I mean, from the other guys that are out there, I think he's a good player. You know, Boston College isn't rarely seen and not much seen and heard from Boston College, but you know they bring out some good prospects.
I mean, Hassan Reddick last year at a Temple. I mean, listen. Yeah. They find talent wherever it is. Mm-hmm. Carson Wentz at North Dakota State. So
Matt Ryan.
They find
Boston College.
They find him, right?
Yep.
And that pick is coming in here from Alan Merlino, number 25, for those Tennessee Titans here on the Sports Box Mock Draft. Let's go to the pick.
This is Alan Merlino, Tennessee Titans affiliate for the Sports Box. And with the 25th pick, the Tennessee Titans will select Harold Landry, defensive end from Boston College. The Tennessee Titans last year lacked a consistent pass rush, and with the addition of Landry, with Jarrell Casey on the line, it'll give the Titans the pass rush that they need to succeed in the AFC this year.
And the Titans address the defense. Harold Landry out of Boston College. Like you said, you know, some of these smaller schools, they're not... Boston College is more of a hockey school.
Right.
But, you know, like Matt Ryan, I believe, came from a local small school as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, you never had, listen, the defensive ends, it gives you a lot of support in the secondary because if you're putting pressure on the quarterback, then the secondary is going to be that much better shape. So, you know, if you go in defense, a lot of these guys are on defensive line, a couple secondary guys, but a lot of defensive line guys, which is a good move.
And if you recall, last year we said with the Eagles where, you know, we thought they might go corner, they might go pass rush, and you know the pass rush does really make your secondary look a lot better.
And they got some help with Butler, so you know the secondary was addressed a little bit there. So you go D end. I'm okay with that pick. Harold Landry, good guy at Boston College.
Yeah, no, I think there's not a lot else they really needed at that spot, so it makes some sense. Yeah. At 26, it's the Atlanta Falcons up. We have Nathan Rodriguez making the pick there for us, and the Falcons, you know. An interesting season for them. I mean, they didn't really have that Super Bowl hangover we thought that they might, because if you remember, they lost that game. Mm-hmm. They had a lead, and they lost that game. Well, eventually I'll start breaking that up. But they do have a couple needs here, and I think they're looking more defensive here. I think that you know they took Tack McKinley last year, a defensive end. It wouldn't shock me to see him keep going with a defensive line, guys that that can get to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on Atlanta?
I think they could go O-line too. You got the kid out of Georgia, Isaiah Wynn, still on the board. And, you know, like you said, defensive. I've noticed with a lot of teams, especially Atlanta, they'll go to a lot of guys in the SEC. They like guys in the SEC. It's just their forte. They're on position.
They know them. They're local.
They've seen a lot of film on them, and they can go to the games, things like that. So with a team like Atlanta, I think they're either going to go D tackle, which is a possibility, like you said, defensive side of the ball, or offensive side of the ball isn't bad too, because Isaiah Wynn is a kid from Georgia who is an outstanding offensive lineman, and they do have to somewhat rebuild that line and try to get back to what they have because they do have a strong running game, and they want to keep Matt Ryan upright. So,
what about tight end here? I mean, Atlanta's another team that just never.
We've been saying that for the last 5 picks,
right?
But I mean, this isn't a fast spot for tight end either for them.
We do team previews every year, Mike, and every year. Will Atlanta use a tight end this year?
No, never used tight end. And they've had some good tight ends over the years. I mean, ever since Gonzalez left, they've had a couple decent tight ends. Even Lolalo, they had him a couple years ago. It wasn't that bad.
But they don't really. They're like Green Bay in a way. They don't really use a tight end.
No.
I see that pick coming in here. So Nathan Rodriguez making the pick at 26 for the Atlanta Falcons here in the Sports Box NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft. Let's go to the pick.
This is Nathan Rodriguez here, correspondent for Atlanta Falcons on the Sports Box radio show. With the 26th pick, I had the Atlanta Falcons taking Taven Bryan. I feel like that's a great second pick for who I really wanted to take at Daron Payne with the 20th pick. But Taven Bryan brings elite pass rush skills and rush skills that maybe Dontari Poe didn't have. and definitely fills a void there after his departure. Dan Quinn really likes this guy after being with him in his Florida days when he was defense coordinator there, and he could definitely help us on the defensive front. With him and Grady Jarrett up there, and he could definitely lead our team to good defense and definitely maybe some playoff wins and hopefully a Super Bowl championship in the long run.
Defensive line, Taven Bryan. No, I just I said, you see what these teams do. McKinley last year, who I liked for Dallas, didn't get him. And now again, you put a big guy like Taven Bryan there. In a division, Mike, where you just got Saquon Barkley in this mock. Carolina runs the ball. The Saints now really run the ball. So you really got to clog up that interior line. Taven Bryan's a really, really nice pick there. I do like that.
It's funny, too. Once you see a defensive guy go, everybody starts panicking. And everybody starts going defense.
The dominoes,
Right, and in the beginning, we saw the quarterbacks go pretty quickly. In the first 5 picks, all 4 quarterbacks we thought were gone. So, it's another run of defense. And now, with a couple other teams on the board, it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
At 27, the New Orleans Saints, James Prima making the pick there for us. And, Mike, what a draft last year, right?
So New Orleans think you could use a tight end? We might as well be consistent to say.
I mean, but you look at the draft they had last year. I mean, I don't think anybody really you can go back and who had a great draft the way that they did last year. They addressed their running game. Lattimore, a great year at corner for a team that really didn't defend very well.
Well, you talk about a team like you got Mark Ingram on your team who was in the doghouse for a long period of time, who thought he was getting traded. And now they bring in Kamara, where you think he's going to take over Ingram, and now they give you the 1-2 punch of both guys, and Mark Ingram's revitalized and having a phenomenal year now, makes a Pro Bowl.
And this is a guy they took in later on. It was their first round pick, and they hit with Lattimore
and was very unhappy last year.
And Ramczyk, the offensive lineman. So
I mean, he did have a departure of Willie Snead, which is a big deal.
That's not.
But in the same sense, you might need a little bit of wide receiver help there, because Drew Brees does have a 2-more-year deal.
Well,
give him a little more weaponry.
And that's the thing. I do think they're looking to get him some help.
Yeah, this could be a good spot for a tight end. They did lose Jimmy Graham.
Could be, it could be like a Hayden Hurst spot. That's absolutely
it's
there.
A good slot.
DJ Moore is still there. Cortland Sutton's still there. The receivers haven't really gone in this draft, at least in the way it's kind of played out. Especially with me not taking one for Dallas. So,
but what would be surprising if they go quarterback route in a way of
that would be very
maybe not here, but maybe down the road. But I mean, the only guy that really left it of any big nature is Lamar Smith, and who I don't think is going to be a quarterback. Lamar Jackson is not going to be a quarterback in the league. I don't think he's going to be wide receiver, but a lot of people think I'm wrong. But this could be an interesting pick for them. Good spot for a tight end there, like you said.
The pick is coming in here. I think James is going to go offense here personally. Wouldn't shock me if it's pass catcher. Tight end or receiver.
They got to keep Brees in there for a couple more years. Yeah.
So that pick number 27, James Primo's making it for the New Orleans Saints here in the Sports Box Team Correspondent mock draft. Let's go to the pick.
What's up, guys? This is James Primo, the Saints analyst for the Sports Box, and with the 27th overall pick in the draft, New Orleans Saints, in my opinion, should choose Hayden Hurst. He's a tight end from South Carolina. While he's not Jimmy Graham, he's going to give them that big body, middle of the field threat, short yardage, and he's going to help them out. That's where we need our most help right now, is in that area. Defense is coming along great, and just a few little tweaks here and there, and Saints are Super Bowl champions again. Of course, we got Brees back, but we're not worried about that right now. While Hurst didn't do great the last couple of years, he is a little bit older than most. He does have some separation ability. He played a little bit of college ball, and he played professional baseball, and he played a little bit of college ball. He played college football. They're projecting him to go late first round, early second round, but I really feel like the Saints need if not a top tier tight end, but a decent tight end, and Hayden Hurst is that guy. Again, he's 6'4", 250. While he's not huge, he's a big body. All right, guys. Well, this has been James Primo for the Saints and Sports Box. Talk to y'all later.
It's about time.
There it is.
But
stop saying it now.
No, but it makes sense though, because like we said, you have an aging Drew Brees. it's not as if, they don't rely on him as much as they did before with the running game.
Right.
But, how much does that running game open up now?
Yeah.
With a Hayden Hurst type player. You saw the impact of young tight ends in the league.
Yeah.
You look at what Evan Ingram did for the Giants. And even in a down year, he had a great year last year.
And I'm going to correct myself. I did say Jimmy Graham left last year. He's been
Was
in
he a
Seattle for
couple
a couple years ago, but he was traded. But even though, when they had him, there's a guy that they can use in the offense, and New Orleans is the kind of team that'll use the tight end fairly well. So good pick with Hayden Hurst. I think they'll use him to the effect that, he's another weapon for Drew Brees. So it's great. Good pick.
The 28th pick belongs to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have Darren Cooper making that pick here for the Sportsbox mock draft.
I think it's a no-brainer.
I think it's defense.
Well, you got to go linebacker. You got to replace Shazier. With a big loss like that, a motivational guy, the captain of the defense, you got to have somebody in the middle to take over that part of him. A couple guys still left on the board. I think Van Der Esch from Boise State stands out to me a little bit. But they definitely got to go linebacker, I think, in this spot.
I don't disagree with you. I do think that, their offense is very good. Their offense is very good every year. Even if you have this contract dispute with Le'Veon Bell, I don't think they're going to walk away from him or that he's one of the best running backs in the league. And you look at a defense, like you said, Shazier was a linchpin. He's not going to be there.
And you got to stuff the run. You got to slow down the run against Pittsburgh Steelers because their secondary is good. So you're going to have some teams run against you, try to run the ball on you. I think it's the no-brainer linebacker. I'd kind of be stunned if they go defensive back or anything like that.
No, for sure. So with pick number 28, we do have Darren Cooper making it here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that pick is in. Darren Cooper making the pick for the Steelers, and let's go see who he's got.
Hey, this is Darren reporting for the Sports Box, affiliate for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is our pick for the 2018 NFL Draft. Our pick is Lehighton Van Der Esch, linebacker, Boise State. We need his speed. We need his agility because we have to replace that gaping hole left by the tragic injury of Ryan Shazier. In the second round, hopefully they'll grab a running back. We all know Le'Veon is the best in the league, but we definitely do know also he will not be a Steeler after this year. All right? Hopefully everybody has a good weekend. Everybody get ready for some football. Here we go, Steelers.
And there you go, linebacker.
Linebacker. I think it's the only move you really make for Pittsburgh because you got to kind of reshape that defense for what it was.
He fits what they do.
Yeah.
That Steeler, steel curtain, power, run, block. He does. Yeah. Big, nice size guy there.
From what I've seen film of him, he's a hard hitting linebacker that can get out of the hole and come up and make a stick. So it's good. It's that Steeler mentality. So like you said,
it does make some sense again, given their defensive issues. I think it's a nice fit, especially again. And if Shazier comes back, guess what? It's a position of need still.
I would be really shocked if Shazier came back.
One of the surprise teams last year was picking in here at 29, the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have Princeton Joshua making that pick for us.
Don't they have Jalen Ramsey?
They do. No. They do. Okay. They shouldn't, but they do. Because,
Still have them.
Yeah. Real strong year last year for them, Mike. We were on that train 2 years run, and then we finally got off it, and the train took off.
Train took off, and they were close to beating Pittsburgh.
They beat them.
And the train pulled away.
Yeah. They, interesting team,
or excuse me, the Patriots.
Right. I know what you meant. Yeah. But, the defense is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's tops in the league. Mm-hmm. They've done such a nice job with that. For me, I don't know where they go with this. They got a lot going on here with this idea of, the offense. This idea, how do we get more talent around Blake Bortles? They lost both receivers from last year. Allen Robinson's gone to Chicago. Allen Hurns has gone to Dallas. And, they got to figure something out here. It can't all be Leonard Fournette.
Right.
And I think that they really need to address this in a big way and give Blake Bortles something if Bortles is your guy.
Okay.
I don't think this is a defensive pick at all because, trust me, they're good.
No, I think they're going offense, too. I said earlier in the draft before the Blake Bortles signing of the long-term deal, I thought that they would maybe go quarterback. Only because Blake Bortles might not be the answer for them. They proved me wrong. They signed him to a longer deal now. So I think it's an offensive pick. You might have some wide receiver help. Yeah, I don't know about running back help. I think they're fine. That running back, maybe O-line. I mean, you made a commitment to run the ball. So why not have some blockers?
Well, they were active in free agency.
Yep.
With that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, it's a team where you know they're going offense. I'll be curious to see which way they go here. And the pick is coming in here from Princeton. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of different ways we can go. I guess we'll see where we go. Pick number 29, Jacksonville Jaguars, made by Princeton Joshua here on the Sportsbox NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft. Let's go to the pick.
What's up, Sportsbox? Princeton Joshua here, your Jaguar correspondent. Give me my first round pick. I think that we're going to be taking Lamar Jackson. Just a simple fact, we only have 2 quarterbacks on our depth chart with Bortles and Cody Kessler. And I think we need somebody in there fighting for that backup spot. I think Lamar Jackson would be a great addition. If he's not there, I wouldn't mind taking Mason Rudolph or even drafting later to get Luke Falk. We need another quarterback. We need more competition at that position. So that's my pick. You heard it here first. I'm out of here, Brian and Mike. Have a great day.
Wow.
That was a shocker. But you know what? It makes a little bit of sense because you do need, again, wide receiver help, and I think that they could think.
I don't know. I don't think he's... Princeton made that pick as a quarterback.
Well, if they use him as a quarterback, he's a fine backup for Blake Bortles for now, who could challenge for a job down the road. But in the same sense, he challenges for a job and takes over, you're paying Blake Bortles for nothing.
I'm not a Bortles guy, and I know Princeton isn't either, and I think that might be coloring the pick a little bit. But... you know, he's a very polarizing guy. You know, if he could go in there, maybe not in a year, but he could take that job over from Bortles. And if it's a long-term play, I could see that. I don't know that I would have gone the quarterback here. I just think, you know, with the receivers that are there and the needs that you have, like I could see that too. But, you know, he makes a good point. There's nobody behind Bortles. Right? So they got to figure something out there, whether it's short-term or long-term. And again, I mean, he really could be very good. If he pans out, he could be really, really good. Minnesota Vikings up at 30 here. Larry Herrera making the pick for us here. And the Vikings, big offseason, added a quarterback. You may have heard his name, Kirk Cousins.
I did hear about him.
He has a fully guaranteed contract, so whether he shows up for work or not, boy's getting paid. You know, they were a team that, you know, shocked a lot of people last year. Very, very good, especially defensively. Able to get the NFC title game with Case Keenum, of all people, at quarterback. It's a good team, Mike. I don't know that they have a ton of holes, but I think for me, they might be looking to shore up an offensive line.
Yeah, I'm going offensive line too as well with this team. The secondary and the defense is solid. Not, like you said, not a lot of holes there. Maybe you draft for depth at defense if you're them, but in the same sense, you need an offensive line, and your $1 million investment in Kirk Cousins, you got to protect him. And you got Dalvin Cook coming back too, so you want to protect him as well and get some holes. Right.
Yeah,
so I agree. I'll go with line.
I mean, and defensively, again, they've been so stout. I just don't know that you necessarily have to go that direction with them. And I really think the way the draft's playing out, you know, again, a couple offensive tackles on the board that I think people might have thought might have gone by here. Colton Miller, Isaiah Wynn. You know, other than that, I don't really know a whole lot of holes right now that this team has. I mean, because they addressed the quarterback. They're not going to go tight end. I think they still like Kyle Rudolph. Again, they're a very good team. They've drafted very well. Larry's pick is coming in here. Again, I think for me, it wouldn't shock me at all to see an offensive tackle here.
No, I agree.
I think that's probably where they want to be. So, number 30, the Minnesota Vikings. Larry Herrera making the pick for us here. The NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft on the Sports Box. And let's see who Larry went with.
How you doing? This is Larry Herrera, correspondent for the Minnesota Vikings for the Sports Box. With the 30th overall selection in the first round, the Minnesota Vikings select Isaiah Wynn, offensive guard from Georgia. This is a really good pick for the Vikings. We need to make sure we protect our multi-million-dollar quarterback, Kirk Cousins. The Vikings last year fell a little bit short in the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. This year, however, I believe that the outcome is going to be a little different. I believe the Minnesota Vikings, along with Dalvin Cook, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Harrison Smith, and the rest of the team, the plethora of superstars on this team, I believe the Minnesota Vikings are looking to strike while the iron is hot. Minnesota Vikings, correspondent Larry Herrera on the Sports Box. Thank you.
Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn, offensive tackle from Georgia. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, he's your lineman.
Like we said.
No tackle. Yeah, I mean, he could have taken Colton Miller, too. I think he's still out there. But, no, Isaiah Wynn's a good player out of Georgia. You know, they made a good run last year. Yeah, absolutely. I thought he's a good player.
No, and again, I mean, they really got to keep their quarterback upright. You know, Cousins can move around a little bit, but you want to give him time. So, no, I think that's a ideal pick here for the Vikings at 30 for sure.
Yep.
We mentioned earlier, at 23, the rich get richer. Here's the second first-round pick for the New England Patriots.
You never thought they'd have not only one, but two picks in the first round.
Amazing. This is why they're good every year.
Yeah.
That's why they're the only elite team.
On those picks, yeah.
Interesting, I think, for me here. So Kevin Zane making the pick here for the Pats. He went with Rashaan Evans, linebacker from Alabama, at 23. So I think here he's got a couple of options. Now, you see running back still on the board like a Sony Michel. I just don't think New England goes that route. They've never been a team that's really put that kind of emphasis on the position. I know they lost Deion Lewis as well, so there is some flux there. I think given the way their offseason has gone, losing the offensive line.
Nate
Sauter's gone. Cameron Fleming's gone.
Yeah.
So, you know, he didn't go line at 23. I think he almost has to here.
Yeah.
If you're going to stay with the pick, I mean, there were thought maybe Lamar Jackson, obviously he's off the board. I didn't like that for them anyway. So, you know, I guess we'll see where we go. Kevin's pick is coming in here. Yeah, I just think offensive line makes sense. You want to give Brady as much protection as possible, and it's been a weakness for a couple of years now.
Yeah, and you got to give him some help back there and make him want to come back to a team that's going to protect him a little bit better.
For sure. Well, I'm sure he wants to. I'm sure he wants all that money anyway. So Kevin Zane's pick is in New England Patriots at 31. Let's see who Kevin's taking here. His second pick for the Pats, Sportsbox NFL Team Correspondent Mock Draft.
Before I make the next pick, I just want to say that I'd be very surprised if the Pats actually end up making both of their first-round picks. If history has taught us anything, it's that Bill Belichick loves trading draft picks. And this year they're in the unique position of having enough ammo to move up and potentially select Tom Brady's replacement if they see a quarterback they like, or do what they've done many times in the past and trade down, obtaining future picks in the process. That being said, assuming they do make this pick, with the 31st pick in the 2018 Sportsbox NFL Mock Draft, the New England Patriots select Colton Miller, tackle, UCLA. There were a couple intriguing options at this spot, but I'm guessing they'll go with a player in their biggest position of need after the departure of Nate Solder. And I also considered Connor Williams, but it seems like he's more likely to move inside and play guard. So Miller is my pick here, as he's the more NFL-ready left tackle.
Colton Miller, offensive tackle, UCLA. Protect Tom.
Offensive line. Or offensive, yep.
You have to, listen, that's a great pick there. You know,
like
probably
it.
a guy who could have gone earlier. Last but certainly not least, 32nd pick in the draft, the defending Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles. We have Anthony Morella, our Eagles correspondent, making that pick.
I think I just heard John Caruso yell. when you
Probably,
said that.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's good.
Sportsbox, we love John. You know what? Couple different options here for the Birds. I mean, there's some impact wide receivers here. And they're an Eagles team that, you know, they gave Jeffrey the money. I like a couple of their younger guys. I think Mac Hollins can be something in this league if you give him a chance. But, you know, again, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, we've said these names a couple times here, haven't come off the board yet. Eagles like running backs. They like the stable approach, and Blunt's gone.
I think they got to go O-line because you got an aging Peters. I mean, you know how long he's going to have left. And you know, Vaitai has played well. In the same sense that you got to start rebuilding if this team's going to be good like they are for a long period of time. You need offensive linemen to stay impact and stay together. I think O-line is another good pick to go.
But to your point too, I mean, given Carson Wentz coming off that injury, you're going to want to make sure that you give him as much protection as possible. He's your franchise. He is the straw that stirs the drink for the next 10, 12 years.
You don't have LeGarrette Blount anymore. You got Jai and Clemens back there. You want to open up some holes for them. I mean, I think it's a good pick of you, O-line.
No, for sure. And Anthony's pick is coming in here. Again, I wouldn't be so... I think it's offense. I think it's something to help Wentz.
Yeah.
I think their defense played really, really well. I just don't... I think that they don't go to any sort of like a secondary guy. I think they're okay there right now.
Right.
Especially, you know, they're getting back His name's escaping me right now. The guy who missed the whole season last year. Sidney Jones. Sidney Jones. I mean, basically, he's going to be a rookie this year.
You guys see what he's going to do, though.
For sure.
He might not be the same player he was when he was in college with that bad injury.
Still a good
so,
pick. I mean,
it's a good pick. If it pans out, it's a great pick.
So here it is. Ending the first round here, Anthony Morello making pick number 32 for your Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles here in the NFL Correspondent mock draft on the Sports Box. Let's see who Anthony goes with.
Sports Box fans, we are at the conclusion of our 2018 NFL mock draft. We hope you enjoyed everything thus far. I'm here to make the 32nd selection for the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. That's going to take some time to get used to, but I'm enjoying every minute of saying that. Now, with the pick, I'm not 100% convinced that they stay in this position. I think there's a great opportunity for them to trade back and gather some picks, but if they do stay here, I'm going with running back Sony Michel from Georgia. Reminds me a lot of Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt, who led the NFL in rushing yards in his rookie year last year. I think there's a lot of similarities there. I also see a little bit of LaShawn McCoy in him. So I really do believe that Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson will be smitten with him, as well as some of the other running backs that are left on the board. Wouldn't rule out either Darius Geis, Nick Chubb, somebody like that. But I think Sony Michel is the better player. He's my number 2 running back in this draft behind none other than Saquon Barkley. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed all of our picks. We'll see you next time on the Sports Box.
Okay, a little surprise.
Wow.
Sony Michel.
That's a big surprise for me.
Well, again, I mean, we like we said, the running backs are a little thinner now, but you still have Jay Ajayi there.
Jay Ajayi, and you have Clemens.
I like Corey Clement quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting there. But again, and Michel's had an injury history, but I think that he might be past that a little bit. But I mean, again, I mean, they don't have a lot of holes. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl, so
yeah.
That is the first round. Any surprises? I mean, I
have some surprises.
I mean, for me, the fact that you got Barkley at 7,
that's
surprising to me.
Yeah, but like I said, it could help, it could hurt, because you did have Mika Fitzpatrick there at cornerback, thinking that you need some secondary help, and this guy falls to you, and you got to go in a different direction. So that could have veered them off track a little bit. Yeah, you have a great running game and a good offense, but you can't stop anybody.
So as far as the mock goes, 4 quarterbacks went in the top 5. That's going to be interesting to see that. Again, Barkley falls to 7.
First wide receiver didn't come off the board till 12 at Buffalo.
Yep. Minka Fitzpatrick fell to 14. I don't know that's...
Yeah.
Listen, that happens in the real draft. Ryan Hoffman's going to do some backflips.
Buffalo went total A offense. They went wide receiver and quarterback with Mason Rudolph. So that's kind of interesting. And Hayden Hurst went all the way down to 27 New Orleans. So
I think it's a nice fit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. That is our Sports Box NFL Team Correspondent mock draft. We appreciate you guys spending the time. Hope you guys liked everything. And, of course, if you're finding us for the first time, we're all over social media. We hope that you'll join the ride. Please find us on Facebook at Sportsbox Show. We do live shows on a weekly basis, a couple times a week now. We have Diamond Cutters, our baseball show. Baseline Jumper, our basketball show. Teeing Off's our golf show. Highly Opinionated is myself and Mike. We're kind of like a PTI style, do a whole bunch of different things. And we're growing every day. So make sure that you're joining the Ringside Seat, the wrestling show. And I'm on that. Forget that. I'm on that.
Yeah.
But there's so much to talk about in the sports world. And we definitely love your support. Check us out again at Sportsbox Show Facebook, at Sportsbox Show Twitter. Subscribe here on YouTube. You're finding us here today. Definitely do that.
Like, follow, share. And remember our sponsor, All Star Entertainment, Greg Alfonso, for all your parties, weddings, graduations, whatever you need from him. Give him a call, 609-271-3900. Mention the Sports Box, and you get 20% off your booking.
That's a better deal than the Colts got. To trade down from 3.
It probably is. Maybe we should have Greg call. See if we can get 20% off the trade. So, all right. Thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye out. We got a lot of good stuff coming. You'll see our smiling faces on Wednesday night. Check us out. Take care. See ya. One, two, three.
Don't forget to subscribe.